Alright, so I'm going through working on my online class, and I'm making sure that all of my videos have captions and that the captions are actually readable captions. Now, a lot of us will use videos from YouTube, and YouTube will auto caption those videos, but they just put a bunch of words on the screen. And so I have a couple like that. So I'm going through, and all of these indicate that these are lecture videos. And so let's go down to Unit 3, Lecture Newsly, because this is one that I have not fixed yet. And so when the student comes in, I'm using Canvas Studio, and Canvas Studio will not bring in the actual captions for the videos so that they'll show up. So you have to do another process, which I'll show you later. But let me go ahead and show you what these captions look like when they're just generated from YouTube or when you just generate them.
Hello, this is Dr. Ken Blake from Middle Tennessee State University School of Journalism. I'm going to talk about 6 rules for writing straight news leads. There are plenty of leads that are awfully good that do not conform to.
Alright, so you may not be able to hear him speaking, but you can see that they're just words. You can't tell when a new sentence begins, there's no punctuation, and it would be very difficult to sort of follow along if you're just having words to show up on the screen like that. So one of the things that you'll need to do is to click on the Captions tab. And I usually do this in Studio instead of on the actual page. But you'll see that I have added captions. But what I can do is edit, download, and replace. And so the first thing that you want to do is download the captions. And so I've already done that. And then I've opened them up in a basic notepad. So I'm using Notepad on a Windows, and it gave me this basic format as the line numbers, the timestamp, and then the words that fit in there. Now when you first open it up, there will be no punctuation. But as you can see in this version, I have periods, capital letter to start a new sentence, I have commas, another period. And so how did I get that? And that's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so I opened up the original version. So now you can see when you look at the words, there are no punctuation, no commas, no periods, no capital letters. It all just sort of blends all in as words, right? You don't know when a sentence starts and when one ends. So what I did was I opened up my famous Chat GPT, and let's go to the front. All right, so I wrote this prompt here. Let's try this one because I was trying a bunch of different stuff. It says, keep every line the same. Do not change any words or lines. Just add comma, periods, capital letters to start a new sentence, but don't change the lines. Also, keep all of the timestamps. And then I said, here is the text. And then I copied. So I had to do it in sections because it wouldn't do all 250 lines. It did like the first 50, and then I had to add more. And so this was the last one that I did, the last part. So it did 173 down to 250. And so I basically just copied word for word from the text that I had. And so again, you can see in this text that I copied in here, there's no punctuation. I think I recopied 173. And then it spit out for me, scroll all the way down, this was the response. Sure, here's the text with added punctuation and capitalization, keeping every line and timestamp the same. And so there it is. Periods, double, looks like a double line there. Afternoon, comma, comma, capital letters. All right, so basically at the end of this, let's go down to the bottom, you can just copy it. And so what I then did was just pasted it into my file here, and that's where I got this version. So let's open up the updated version. Okay. And all right, so then after I cut and pasted into the updated version, I basically saved it. So to save it, you go File, Save As, and you want to change this to all files. You want to give it a name, and then at the end of it, you want to write .srt. Okay, so SRT file is the one type of file that the captioning tool will take. Okay, so then when I went back into my course, I just replaced that file with this new SRT file. And then I'm not going to do it again. It then updates your captions so that they work. So I haven't actually done this one yet, but it works and it's awesome. It took me, because I had to do it in sections and I didn't originally know that, it took me a little bit longer, but now that I know that it probably will only do about maybe 50 to 75 lines, I can probably do it in 3 sections depending on how long the video is. Alright, so let's do this in real time. So we have the lesson that's in Canvas Studio, and at the bottom you'll see these 4 things, and you hit Captions, Make sure you scroll down. You'll see that there are English captions. We are going to download the captions first. It's going to download it as zip file. I'm going to go ahead and save it to my desktop. Then I'm going to open that file, and you can see here that it is an SRT file, and if I just click it, it's not just going to randomly open unless you tell it Notepad. So I had to, on the first try, choose Notepad or some other kind of note tool that you have on your computer. But you can see that it has opened up, and very little punctuation, if any at all. Okay, so I don't see any other than the period after doctor. Alright, so what we're going to do now is ask ChatGPT to put the punctuation in for us. So I'm just going to copy it. Now, you can't do all 200 lines or so, so I'm just going to start with, like, let's do 75. Let's try 100. No, 75. Alright, so I'm just going to copy that. Okay, we're going to go over to ChatGPT. We're going to put this in there. And we're going to add our prompt at the top. Alright, so I added in this prompt. Can you clean up this text for me? Keep every line the same. Do not change any words or lines. Just add punctuation and capital letters to start a new sentence, but don't change the lines. Also, keep all the timestamps. Here is the text. And then I have the text that I pasted in. So let's see what it does. Alright, certainly. Here is the cleaned up text. Hello, period. This is Dr. Ken Blank, capitalize. Middle Tennessee State. Period here. Okay, period, but, capital letter, there are. Geez, so beautiful. And then let's see how many lines it'll do. I'm going to pause really quick. Okay, so it almost did all of the lines. It did 71. And so I can hit continue generating, and it will continue, and sometimes it just goes really slow. But basically, I got all 75 lines with only one continue generating. And so right here, I'm going to hit this copy button, and then I'm going to go back to my file. All right, so I have 75 lines. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way up to the top. Come on, you can do it. All right, and then I'm going to delete those 75 lines, and I'm going to paste in. Now, don't forget, at the very top, your prompt or your response will be up there, and you have to delete that. I forgot that the first time, and it didn't work for me. All right, oops. So, got it. All right, now I would continue to do that for all of the lines, and you could have a lot of lines. In this particular case, I have over 450 lines, because that video was about 15 minutes long. All right, first I want to point out that I did try uploading the whole document, but it was just horrible. He did not get it at all. So I gave him the prompt, and then he made these, I call him a he because, I don't know, being sexist. He's messing up. All right, so he created complete sentences, completely changed each line, and of course none of this is going to match up. So I tried to correct him. I said, I don't want you to change the lines of the text. Don't combine the lines to make sentences. Just add punctuation. He says, understood. Did it again. So this time, he put a period at the end of every line. Period, period, period. Ugh. So I said, better, but don't add a period at the end unless it's an actual end of a sentence. Do the same thing, but only use a period at the end of the real sentence. Then I got this. And I thought he was doing it right, but he still started to add words together. So this should end after the word six. I'm going to talk about six. And then the next line, 4, is rules for writing straight news. So then it just got off track. And so at that point, I just gave up. I didn't realize he made a mistake, and I said, finish the rest. And as I was reading this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is not right. Especially when I saw this long line here. So I went back to just individually pasting in and doing it myself. And that works. Okay, so I finally got them all in there and all cleaned up. And one, the file, uploading a file doesn't work as well. And then I basically gave in and paid 20 bucks, and it did a lot more lines. So it didn't take as long. So this one was 450 lines, and I think I did it in 3 batches. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save it now. So we're going to go to Save As. We have a name. We're going to change this to all files. And at the end of the name, we're going to add .srt. All right, so I'm going to save that on my desktop. And now I'm going to go back into Canvas. And I'm going to upload that file. Now, one of the things that I did, just in case it doesn't work, is I saved the original. So we're going to go into Replace. Now we are going to grab that SRT file. We're going to open it. And it says, your captions have been replaced. Please refresh. All right, so we're going to refresh this page and see what happens.
Writing straight news leads. There are plenty of leads that are awfully good that do not conform to all or even any of these rules. But
Period.
what I'm
Capitals.
doing here is giving
Comma.
you some guidelines that if you follow those
Woohoo!
guidelines,
It
you
worked.
write a good lead
Yes.
every time.
All right, so as you can see, it worked. It added in capital letters, started new sentences. It's not perfect, but it's better than what it was. So now I can feel comfortable that if someone needs to read these captions, that they will actually make sense.